So Thijs, when you guys started out, the music of Focus was a little bit different to what we know Focus as today. Was it true that you guys used to do covers of Traffic songs and Bob Dylan songs when you first started out?
Yeah, that was part of it, and also own material. And the first record we did was with English song lyrics. So it was not merely instrumental as it became later. So, you know, it was like a singing rock group. And the singing was not so fantastic, I must say. So the change into a merely instrumental group was obvious and was a good choice, a good decision, you know.
I'd read that you said, I think it was after the first Focus album, you decided that singing English lyrics in a Dutch accent sort of dampened the music a little.
That was true. And we also had a lot of trust in our own instrumental ability, if you want to say. So we became a merely instrumental group, which was very beneficial for us. It was a good decision.
Right. So then when you got to write the first album, um, there's a few instrumental pieces and things, but the real breakthrough came through with House of the King. That was written primarily by Jan Ackerman, but you featured quite heavily on the flute in that song.
Yeah.
How did that sort of come about?
It was born in Mallorca, where we were disqualified during a band contest. And we were playing too long, so we were disqualified by very famous members of a jury, Frank Purcell and Judy Felix and people like that, you know. And after the first evening, Frank Purcell came to us on the beach and he said, "You have to shorten the song you do, because otherwise we have to disqualify you," which we hate, because we love your music and we think you are the best band of all the bands. It was an international thing there. And so the second night, we played exactly the same song, and again, the same length. And then Frank Purcell came again to the beach and he said, "Boys, we have to discuss this very seriously, but you have to shorten up. Otherwise, we have to disqualify you." And so we came in the finale and we played again the same song. It was the ta-da-da, ta-da-da-dee-da-da-da-da. And we played again, instead of 15 minutes, we played 16 and a half minutes. And exactly after 15 minutes, they cut the electricity. So we didn't have any electricity anymore. So the band didn't have any sound anymore. And then I went into the public playing the flute without any electricity, so live. And another member of the group ruined the dressing room. 4 chairs, 2 tables, and really amazing. And then all the friends we had there became suddenly very, they appeared to be member of the Guardia Civil, and they put us in jail. And we stayed in jail for half a night, and then got bailed out by Tony Hall, the manager of a group called Arrival. He paid money to get us out of jail. And so the rest of the night, we could sleep in our hotel. And in the morning, sitting on the grass, on the lane, near the hotel. We composed this song called House of the King. And that became our very first hit in Holland. It's still one of our songs we like to play nowadays.
Yeah, it's a really great song. And
Thank
I
you.
think it's quite distinct in its style. It sort of sounds like something that could have been played in, you know, like medieval England or something. I just wonder what sort of are the influences for that sort of song. What were you listening to at the time?
And maybe a little influenced by Jethro Tull. That was actually the only group that I then knew that used a flute in a kind of leading role. There was not so many bands. There were not so many bands that used the flute. They considered probably the flute as a non-rock and roll instrument, which it is, of course.
Is it true that you wrote the song Moving Waves? You started to write that song when you were 8 years old?
I think I was 16, twice 8.
Right, okay.
But, you know, yeah. And we wanted to do it as a band composition. But then I did a demo on it on the piano, and me singing just a sing song on the piano. And then the other members of the group said, we keep it like that. We are not going to play it as a band. It's nice like it is.
So obviously, Focus 2 sort of was the huge breakthrough album internationally. I just want to talk a little bit about Hocus Pocus, sort of your signature song, I think. Was it your idea to include the yodeling?
No, it was just born during a rehearsal. We rehearsed in a castle, and Jan Akkerman was playing a genius guitar riff, and he was playing that 4 times, and then he played bow 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 down down down. He stopped, and then there was a drum break of 2 bars, and then I began to yodel and play an accompanying thing on the Hammond organ for the first time of my life.
All right, you'd never yodeled before?
No, never, never, never.
Wow.
And that was became our big breakthrough hit in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. As well, in that song, there's sort of a period where sort of normally a guitar solo or something would be, you sort of have a solo of your own, but just sort of making strange sounds and noises. Was that sort of the same sort of development? Did you come up with that off the cuff in a rehearsal?
Yeah, it started during the rehearsal, and then when we recorded it in the studio, there came more ideas just spontaneously and never prepared.
I remember when I was a kid, my dad showed me we have old repeats of the Old Grey Whistle Test on TV over here, and one night they had it on, and you guys were on, and you were doing the yodeling and the noises, and you were shaking your head and so enthralled in it. And my dad looked at it and he said, "Look, this is real music right here."
That's lovely.
It was just such a. I think all of the performances you gave were definitely filled with a sort of energy, and I think every time you used to play it, it sounded faster to me when it was live too.
We kept on playing faster and faster till a ridiculous speed. That's true. And I like the slow version actually a little more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So many great songs from that period of time. Things like Sylvia and Janice. So I just wanted to ask, were they all created in a similar way of just sort of jamming together and seeing what came?
Oh, no. Most of the material, at least that I wrote, was done in weeks or months. by doing again and again and again and again before I even showed it to other members of the group.
Right.
No, that was only Hocus Pocus that was created during a jam, and the rest was all a very long time thought of and a long time composing. Yeah.
Menno and Udo, were you guys big Focus fans before you joined the band?
I was. My dad had this compilation album, and it's he had that album. It's the brown cover with like the photo with Hans Clover in there. And I think it's Martijn Drees. I'm not sure. It was a compilation album, and I remember when I just started out playing guitar kind of when I was like 15, something like that. So when I was around 16, I discovered that album, and I remember playing it repeatedly on the record player and checking out what they were doing. And I really loved Hocus Pocus back then, and I really loved House of the King, the hits and stuff like that. And then later on, I actually got to know the repertoire better when I started out playing together with Thijs in his own band called the Kongsi back then. And then I had to learn some of the other stuff as well. And and I thought it was just brilliant, But I remember repeatedly listening to that compilation album for sure. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
My dad was also. It was one of the first live concerts my dad ever saw was of Focus, and then back then Focus was even playing. School parties, I think my dad saw Focus somewhere in Alkmaar, where he was. It's a little town in Holland where he went to school. I think that was where he saw Focus for the first time, and he was telling me about it, that he was so completely blown away by by this experience. He also mentioned that it was so loud. It was the loudest thing he ever heard. But he was also playing a lot of Focus records on vinyl at our home. So I my whole youth I heard Focus music. I loved it also.
What is it like to go from being a fan of Focus and hearing it in your childhood home and then actually being part of Focus?
For me, it was. I never thought. You never think of playing in a band like. For me, it was not obvious to play in a band like that. But I met Thijs once at a party of a studio where I work, and we jammed, and we didn't even speak. We never talked that day.
Yeah, we only made music.
Yeah, and then I think a half year later, or maybe a year later or something, I got the call. Thijs called the studio to ask for my number, and then I was standing in the kitchen of the studio owner. So he said, "Yeah, he's standing next to me, so you can give it." So and then it was Thijs. There was Thijs. Hey, Thijs. Hey, I shall come right to it. You want to play in Focus? I said, yeah, of course I want to play in Focus. You don't have to think about it? No, I don't. I really don't have to think about it. Okay, then you're the new bass player of Focus.
Wow. Just as
That's
easy
how it
as
went.
that.
That was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah,
that was really weird. And then we had a rehearsal, and we went to the UK for the first gig. I felt honored, that I could play in a institute like Focus. I mean, it has such an history, and I mean the compositions are so unique, and also the fan base is amazing, all over the world, and they are so faithful and so loving, and they have a very loyal fan base, and probably they know every bass note that should be somewhere in the composition. So I better do my homework, Yeah. So, but I was embraced from the start, and people, it was like a warm bath. People really embraced me, and I'm very thankful for that. Also, I mean, this could have turned to a disaster, but it was the best thing that ever happened, to me. So
Fantastic.
And what about you, Menno? Did you feel the sort of pressure when you joined the band? There's a lot of...
I joined the band before, when I was like 21 or 20. Thijs discovered me. He was looking for a guitar player back then for another band, for his own band.
Right.
And he got tipped by a friend of mine. I think it was Roland, actually, Roland Jacobs, Ruud Jacobs' son. So Thijs got tipped, and he went over, and I was, we met at my parents' house, I remember, but it's a long time ago. And I ended up like joining that band. Back then, it was like a huge thing for me. That was like the first, very big artist to actually, embrace my talent and just like, take me along, you know what I mean? So that was like a huge thing already in itself. Second time around though, that's like about 10 years ago, I replaced Niels, the former guitar player, in England for a couple of shows because he got ill. And I must say, that was with Pierre on drums. Like the reunion in '97 was with Hans Kleuver on drums. This time around it was with Pierre, Bobby Jacobs on bass. And I remember it was just, that was just like from the first gig, I was bloody nervous because I hadn't played the repertoire for like years, right? So that was like a huge pressure in itself also already, also. But musically, it was like so great. I just loved it so much from the first second again, you know what I mean? And me rejoining for those couple of shows back then, that led to me actually rejoining the band, you know what I mean? And that was just back then when I rejoined for like real, I was just like, I'm gonna grab this by the balls, I'm just gonna like do it. And, you could also sense that the fans, they were already used to like other guitar players in the meantime, and I just got welcomed so much and it just fell all into place so good.
Right. Okay.
I just really wanted to do it and just play it and, at the same time pay tribute to the heritage and at the same time get my own voice in a bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that just blended perfectly. I'm the most happy guitar player to come out of this country, This is the best band ever, It's true. I really think so.
Yeah. I was gonna say about that actually, about putting your own voice in. It's quite an interesting idea that now you guys joined the band, and now something like Focus 11, you guys now have input into a completely new Focus album. What is that like?
It's sometimes intimidating. But I guess because of us playing live so much, not nowadays, but we've been playing live so much, it's really, you just really can count on, the other guys to like just, it's, you already know what the other person's gonna do almost,
Yeah.
except from like new compositions by Thijs, that's like, those are puzzles that you really need to solve beforehand, you know what I mean? And brilliantly written, you know what I mean? But it's a privilege. I cannot say otherwise. It's a big privilege to, to be part of that, and to be like, in this band for so long, and just given the chance, to get your own, chips in there, you know what I mean?
I mean, Focus 11, I joined, I think, 3 or 4 months before we started recording Focus 11. So the album was practically written. I got one piece on it. That was very nice also, it worked out. We checked some stuff in the studio and that piece worked out. The other stuff just we threw in the bin. I think maybe there's some of Thijs's best stuff on it also. I mean, but what I'm really looking forward to is recording Focus 12, because the pieces Thijs played for us are amazing, and also you can really hear they are tailor-made for what we are now, you know, the band we are now. I think we'll be able to do it this year. Yeah, I hope so.
Nice.
To make 12.
Yeah, Thijs.
Great.
So, Thijs, what is that like writing sort of? It must be different writing music for a different group of people. But obviously you get to know what people's strengths are and what will suit people best. So what was it like sort of writing pieces for Focus 11 with, you know, new members?
I knew that Udo could play anything in the world because he's a virtuoso. He's a just God-given talent he has. But I could write anything and he plays it like a monster, like a god. It's fantastic. So it's still tonal writing, but it's nearly edgy here and there. So yeah.
Do you think that the Focus sound has evolved over time? And what would you say has sort of changed since, you know, back in '69 to now? What would you say?
Yeah, I think we still develop every day and every second. And I think that Focus becomes better and better, but that's very personal. Maybe other people say that is kind of a constant thing. But I think that there's a lot going on, and there's a lot musically happening, which is surprising and very, very beautiful. Yeah.
I really like the fact that we play with sort of two generations, you know, it's Thijs and Pierre and Menno and me. And when we play, it's really amazing, but we don't feel any difference in energy, or it's like we are
generation gapping.
Nothing like that, nothing. So it's almost like we are all 18, you know, and just doing it, and
Right.
Especially touring, you know, when we play night after night, so it rises every night, the level rises, and it gets so tight and so strong, you know. That's something I find amazing. And the same goes for the development in writing. I mean, well, you'll have to listen to Focus 12 when it's there, but the compositions, you know, I mean, Thijs as a composer, it's still evolving, and there's some stuff I've never heard of him, and it's so yeah, how do you say, rich? It's so rich, you know, and it touches your heart in so many different ways. Yeah, that's something that keeps on evolving. I'm super happy to be part of that.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. It's like, you know, there's definitely, like, I haven't been in any other band or you know, accompanying any other artist that, you know, is just like still so, like, it's almost a naive thing, like wanting, you know, to grab that attention and from the audience, and at the same time delve very deeply in like the material, and really just every night, you know, just like dive into that kind of source. That's like something you cannot, you know, you cannot find that like often in like later generation of bands, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that's just totally unique, and I think that's still evolving as well for us as a band, you know. It's always searching for like new ways to do stuff and play stuff, and just, you know, different ways of concentration, or, you know, it's great, you know. I think it still has the same emotional source, but it gets translated more and more in a crystallized way. It's very important that we also record all of that stuff, you know what I mean? Because it is like a huge development it's amazing. You know, you've got a lot of classic bands. You know, they grab back, you know, on like what they became famous for, and the same sound, and we have to repeat, like, you know, it's all about scoring and scoring and scoring and stuff like that. You know what I mean? In this case, that's definitely not going on. This is, you know, what you hear now on the new Focus albums is really focused in these times, you know, for the most based on what Thijs actually composes.
It's also playing with someone like Pierre, you know, he's a drummer of a certain generation, but for us, guys of around 40, you know, it's amazing to play with Pierre. You know, he has this spiritual sense of playing, this very what do you say, intuitive way of playing, and every night it's different, and the energy is so high. You know, he cannot not. I mean, night after night, he gives everything until he's completely empty. You know, energy-wise, and then he still has energy, but. You know, his whole approach is so inspiring for us. You know, he really turns his band into something super special. And every note he plays, you know, you feel he plays the note. You know, it's not just his hand moving. It's all intention. You know, everything's intention, and it makes you play like. You give your best every night because he's giving everything. You know?
I was gonna say I was watching some clips of some gigs that you guys have done in the past few years, and it just reminded me of watching, you know, Focus back in the early 70s on the Old Grey Whistle Test. There's still that sort of energy and passion for what you do. I don't think it's you know, left at all. And the music definitely does. I think, Menno, you hit the nail on the head really when you said, you know, Thijs is just coming up with a new way to communicate the same message that he had back in the day. That's definitely how it feels. Even with Focus 11, it definitely feels like this is the same sort of conversation we were having, but in a new sort of sound even.
It has developed a lot, you know.
Yeah.
And it's great that it's been put out there and not, you know, it's not relying on any old tricks, which that's what you see a lot of times happening. Or I see it a lot of happening like around us in other bands.
Yeah.
You know, this is actually, you know, the story right now. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw Thijs. You said in an interview recently that there's a lot of bands that call themselves progressive rock, where it's more like regressive rock, and they're just sort of calling back to things that they used to do. And not really developing, whereas obviously you guys have got the opposite, really.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to ask each of you, sort of, what is your own sort of favorite little slice of what Focus has done?
It was one of the concerts that we did in America was when Gladys Knight announced us in front of a million public on the TV, and then we did Hocus Pocus, and that was, maybe you saw it once.
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've seen that gig.
And that was a very lucky moment, I think, for the band. It was a very everybody played well, and the atmosphere and everything was so loaded with good music and with love and anything you want, you know. So that was one of the high points. And also with the band we are now with, there's so many high points because every night we play so well, if I can say that.
Yeah, I think I must. I also, the first thing that came to mind was also the concert, the thing on TV with Gladys Knight in. I mean, when you see them play there, you know, the energy is so together, and it's so unique, and they really killed it. Like I totally understand why they set their reputation for decades to come at that moment. Because they were announced and they killed it. Everything spot on, and even when you look at it now, it hasn't lost any energy, or it doesn't sound outdated, or it's timeless, and it's spot on. So for me, that's also the.
No, but I agree on that one. I think that's like a how do you call it, like a very deciding moment there for the band, of course. But for the rest, I just think about all these years of like traveling the world and just doing all those shows. That's for me. That's for me personally. Of course, that's the highlight.
Yeah.
And seeing all those fans and being so moved and in tears sometimes, and totally, the fact that we can actually, be a catalyst for all that.
To see people cry, and it's so intense, and you don't. I never expected that when we went there for the first time. But it's so strong, and it also shows you that it's so universal. This music. I mean, they completely lose themselves. It's beautiful. Yeah, and that's these are things I will also remember for the rest of my life. It's we're still in it, thank God.
So yeah, just on that, actually, I just like to ask you all, just as a sort of final note, what is next for Focus?
Live DVD coming up from Rio de Janeiro, which is amazing. Which is one of those concepts where everything falls into place.
Into place, right?
Well, Thijs didn't even have an organ. All sort of things are not optimal, but the concept was so great, and we all played. Yeah, we played well. I can say that. And then the other thing that's coming out is a CD with we play all the Focus numbers in sequence. So Focus 1, Focus 2, Focus 3.
Wow.
Up
until Focus 12. So there's one new song coming up. And we played it in the studio as we play it, as we play it now. So.
Right.
And the third one is Focus 12 itself, that we still have to create in the studio.
Right. So that's something. I imagine once all this lockdown and everything is opened a little bit.
Well, we also hope to be back in November if everything turns out.
Yeah.
There's an extensive tour through the UK.
Yeah,
And
you guys are stopping off relatively near where I live, actually.
Oh.
I'll be hoping to check out the gig. I think you're in Huddersfield, I think it is.
Yeah, could be, yeah.
In West Yorkshire, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's not too far from where I live. So yeah, I'll definitely try and get there myself.
You should come.
Yeah.
Guest
It'd be great to see. Oh, great! Yeah, thank
there you go.
It'd be great to see a Focus gig in person.
Yeah,
It is.
welcome.
Great. Right. Well, thank you all so much for taking the time to talk to me in this lockdown. I really appreciate it. And I wish you all the best with Focus 12 and the other two projects you're working on. And I hope that you guys keep very well in this lockdown.
Thank you, Reese.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I hope to see you in November.
No problem. I will, definitely, I promise.
Okay.
I'm delighted to be joined now by Thijs van Leer from the band Focus. Hi, Thijs.
Hello, Paul.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good stuff, that's good to hear. How are you coping with lockdown and everything that's been going on in this crazy year?
Yeah, I mean, I have to get adapted to it. I'm a lot at home and I'm composing every day, actually. And not 8 hours a day, but a few hours per day. And we have a good contact with the members of the group Focus by doing a Zoom every week.
Yep.
And so that is making us very happy, kind of happy. And of course, we are not happening now. We are not performing. No.
No, we can't at the moment, can we? But let's go right back to the very beginning then, Thijs, if you don't mind. I read somewhere that in the very early days, you rented a room in a grand kind of palace, castle sort of thing. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was actually a castle owned by a girlfriend of mine. And she had a lot of mainly people from the cinema business being there and having lots of fun and drinks. And so it was a kind of a serious, half serious gathering of people that had the same kind of interest. And I came there with the boss of the cabaret group that I was with, Ramses Shaffi. And he knew Mary, and he said, let's have a rehearsal at Mary's. And so we did, and that worked very fine. We had a lot of fun and a lot of talks. And then years later, I remember that, and I said to Group Focus, let's ask if we can have a rehearsal there. And we actually did, and we had the agreement of not paying any money, but do a free concert there in the, let's say, few months later. So we had a whole, how you call that, a wing of that castle for ourselves, with a beautiful room and a beautiful sounding, a good sound actually. And we rehearsed there for days and days and days.
There's not many bands can say that they started rehearsing in castles. I mean, that's very special.
It was actually, yes.
Excellent. Now we talk about the early days. I mean, the first song which really put you on the map was House of the King, and that kind of brought you big exposure, didn't it?
Yeah, in Holland and in the Flemish part of Belgium, yes. But in England, for instance, it didn't become a big hit.
Okay.
Maybe there was some play on the radio, but it was not the big thing. The big thing was actually Hocus Pocus, the second single.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Hocus Pocus. It was big. It was big everywhere. You toured all over the place. Big in America. It was big here in the UK as well, as you said, and big all over the world. I mean, just take us back to the beginning of that. Where did that song come from then?
It actually started with the guitarist, Jan Akkerman. He started to play, and it was sounding great. I mean, and one of the best licks ever, I think, in rock and roll history. And then he stopped suddenly, and Pierre, the drummer, he did a drum solo, a fill of 2 bars, and I started yodeling behind my organ. And for the first time of my life. And that was it. That was the song. And then we went to the studio and we recorded it, and it became a big hit.
So where did the yodel idea come from? Was it just something spontaneous that came from within you?
I never did it before. It just came out of that moment, actually. So I can't say too much about it. And I did it kind of in tune, I think. It was sounding immediately, let's say, adequate. Yeah.
It fit really well. And it was something different, very, very different, wasn't it? Because people weren't yodeling in pop culture back then.
No, there was not much yodel in pop culture there. I think there was a girl in Holland who did it, and there was the girl, she was called Ima Sumak, you know her?
No.
She did a bit of voice traveling, but no, we were actually the first. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good. And then I was watching videos of you recently doing this, and you still managed to pull off some of the yodel now, don't you? But you like to leave the rest of the high notes to the crowd.
The very high note I cannot make anymore since my 50s, dear. So the yodel itself I can do, but the go up, it doesn't happen anymore.
Can you give us a little
And the
blast of the
guitarist is
yodel?
helping me, and the public, as you say. Yeah.
Could you give us a little blast of the yodel now?
Oh no. Lloyd. No, not now.
No problem at all.
No.
So when that song broke big and you got to travel the world and play, I mean, what was it like as a Dutch band going across to America and performing over there on their TV shows and things like that? How did that feel?
Yeah, that was actually very nice because we had a kind of a small audience, and not knowing that we were playing in front of so many million of people that were looking at TV. So there was a kind of a cozy feeling about it. So we were not aware of the many millions that looked at us. The Don Kirshner show we did, and the many shows, and a show we did with Gladys Knight announcing us.
I think it was about 10 years ago or so for the World Cup, when Hocus Pocus was used by huge company Nike on their adverts. I mean, did you know they were going to do that in advance? Did you realize that was going to happen?
Yeah, we had a talk with our publisher, and he made a big deal about that. So we knew it before.
Fantastic.
It was for a very big name like Nike.
Yes.
And beautiful film, by the way, done by a Brazilian cinematograph, and a fantastic film with all of very famous football players.
Yes.
Playing it. Yeah.
Yes, and it brought the music back and your band back, didn't it, to the forefront? And like you said, with the big footballers, Cristiano Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney and other big name footballers were there, and people were hearing your music again, and it brought focus back to the masses.
Right. Yeah.
Good stuff. And then in terms of the Focus Part 1 then, I mean, you lasted for about 10 years or so until the band broke up originally. And now you're back. You've been back for a number of years, and you've released many albums since then. And you were telling me before we started recording as well about the lineup. It's kind of the new and the old, isn't it?
Yeah, 50-50. I'm part of the old gang with Pierre van der Linden, the drummer, and the guitarist Menno Gootjes, and the bass guitarist Udo Pannekate. And they are one generation younger.
Yep.
They are 40 years. And the drummer and I, we are 70 years old, older than 70.
And do you find that having these younger guys with you helps to keep you alive? Do they bring fresh ideas to you and keep you going that way?
Yeah, but also we inspire them as well.
Yes, of course.
If I may be so blunt. Yeah. So it works very good. Yeah.
Excellent. And you mentioned 50-50 split in the band. It kind of nicely leads us on to Focus 50 as well. It was an album that came out last year, and you worked with Roger Dean as well, didn't you? And I mean, that must have been very special.
That's great. The cooperation with Roger Dean is unbelievable. And we have a lot of respect for each other. And when we see each other, which is not often enough, but quite often, then we have great talks and very profound talks. Really nice.
Absolutely, because his back catalogue is incredible, isn't it? The bands that he's worked with, and he's gone on record and said that he loves your music, and he loved working with you on this project, didn't he?
Yeah. And there's one place that we play with people having dinner. It's in Trading Boundaries, and there he is always there also. The manager of Trading Boundaries is also his manager, so it's a kind of a friendship thing there.
And I touched on it at the very start as well. I'd like to hear your story about this. You are a sir, aren't you? You were given the honour in your home country. Can you tell us about how that came about, Thijs?
Yeah, actually, it was my wife who, Annelies, and she prepared it all without me knowing anything. And she's been corresponding with a lot of friends, and they all prepared it. And it was in the church in our village here. And she said, now you have to come on Saturday. You have to come at 12 o'clock sharp in that church and take your flute with you. And I say, why do I have to take my flute with me? Yeah, there's some friends and they want to play some stuff with you. But do I have to rehearse in front before that? No, you know the songs and it's no problem. And then I came there in the church with the door was closed, and I hear some music on the organ played, and I think that must be Bert van der Brink, the best pianist we have in Holland. And he played some of my compositions. And I thought, what is this? And then the door opened and all my family flown in from all over the world was there, filling the church. And then I thought, what is this? This may be the opening of a cultural season or something. So I came in the church and I played while walking to the front, and I sat down. Then the mayor of our village, he started talking like it's the beginning of a cultural season, you know. And I thought, oh yeah, I thought I knew that. And then he suddenly said, it's about icons, and there's one icon here amongst you, and that's you, Mr. Van Leer. Could you come to me? And then I was really flabbergasted, you know, and then he gave me the ornaments of the how you call it? The knights, how you call that?
Yep, the knighthood.
Yep. Yeah.
That's incredible.
And then we played with the band, with Focus was there, and Focus played for more than an hour. And then we played with all my family members. We also have a band with my family, and we played for more than an hour. So it was only music. It was really nice.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like a fantastic night.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Good stuff. Indeed. So what you've mentioned that you're going to be touring in the UK later on this year in 2021.
Yeah.
What else do you have on the radar? I guess obviously you said you were writing at home. Is there a new album in the works, in the plan?
Yeah, there's 2 albums that will come out very soon now, and that's a live album from Rio de Janeiro.
Wow.
With the latest lineup, and also a studio album with all the songs that are called Focus 1, Focus 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up until 12. And so that's a very nice combination of a live and a not live album together. And in the meantime, we are working on Focus 12, the album. And that is, we didn't rehearse it yet. Yeah, still working on it at home, quietly.
Thank you very much, Thijs. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you today, and we look forward to hearing this new music and albums when you bring it out.
Right. Thank you very much for this interview. And we are very proud and humble at the same time. we feel like honored by you being so faithful and having been so beautiful to us all the time. And I'm so happy with the band itself, consisting of Menno Gootjes on guitar, Pierre van der Linden on drums, Udo Pannekate on the bass, and me on the organ and the flute. And surrounded by beautiful management, led by Martin Darwell. And we have this beautiful opportunity to be designed on album by Roger Dean himself, and also Sam Ashworth. Thank you very much for everything. We are a team. We are a beautiful team. We are kind of very close, not seeing each other too much the last half year, but very soon it will be together again, and we will rock on.
I would say what Thijs said, that he invited me to work with you guys. It's just a fantastic honor. I'm awestruck by the music, and I love that I've been invited to work with you. It's been a blast. It's been amazing. And watching you play, incredible. Because I never did that in the past, but in the last few years, I've watched you, and it's been fabulous. And Thijs, who will play the flute at a drop of a hat anywhere, sort of a cross between Merlin and the Pied Piper. Yes, it's been fabulous. And God, how scary to be 50. I don't mean, well, yeah. I mean, you wouldn't have believed it, would you? In the past, you wouldn't have believed you'd be celebrating a 50th anniversary. It's incredible.
No, I wouldn't. No.
No.
I'm very emotionally shocked that we are that kind of old and that kind of mature in a way, you know. It's beautiful.
And doing music that really is even better than at the beginning. Thank you so much for letting me work with you.
And thank you for joining us, for joining this little family. It's beautiful.
It's been an honor. It really has. The most amazing thing.
You know, it's just been an incredible honor to be able to perform with Focus, with Pierre, Thijs, Udo, you know, and just to be able to meet people like you, Roger, and joining in on the team, you know, that just makes it that much more big for me, you know, because I mean, I wasn't even born when you guys started out, right? So
don't rub it in.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like, you know, so it's such an incredible honor to be able to join them after so many years, and you know, building this up together for the last 10 years already, actually, because I'm almost having my 10th year anniversary really in January, which is unbelievable by itself to me personally also, like, you know, it's just been an incredible ride so far. And so thank you all for embracing, you know, me and making music together. It's been one hell of a ride so far, you know, and I'm just looking forward to the next 50.
Yeah, I can only agree with Menno. I mean, and I'm looking forward to hitting the road again, because geez, this has been a year. Incredible. Sitting at home. Luckily, we recorded some good stuff, and we had something to work on and contemplate a bit. But I can't wait to be in the UK again. You know, it's it's like you're missing your other relatives in a way, yeah. And it's nice to keep in touch through Facebook. A lot of people reach out, and it's good to know everyone's okay, and that everyone's looking forward to hearing us play again. So yeah, it's really this family feel. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, Roger, thank you very much for all your beautiful designs, and it's it makes everything so much more chic and special. So
No,
yeah,
it's been wonderful for me. Every aspect of it has been wonderful. Wonderful music, wonderful company. Yeah, and I love meeting you when you were playing at Trading Boundaries and sort of sneaking in and having dinner with you guys.
yeah, I was going to say that last time was super nice, hanging out a bit, nice conversations. It's great.
50 years, half a century. That's a long time. And what me fascinates in Focus, that are the strong melodies, especially in the ballads, and up to the improvisations, till almost abstraction, and the free space of the solos. That's what me keep in touch with Focus. And I love to play with these men, Menno, Udo and Thijs. And I hope that I can play with them for a long time. And Focus is interesting music, especially in this time. We need melodies, interesting improvisations, and I think we keep it in time for a long time, I think. And I'm looking forward to the next concert, maybe next year. And I hope that we keep in touch, and the preparing of Focus 12. Okay, man, I love you, and goodbye, so long.
Let me say one thing to you fans, and I'd like to say thank you for the faithfulness and for the long waiting. We are also waiting together with you for the moment that we can say we are there again on stage and we play, as good as we can, of course. And I'm really looking forward to that moment that we are back on stage again. And I hope you all come and you will have this celebration together with us. Really, thank you.
Hey, it's such a big pleasure to have legendary Thijs van Leer here with me on my little live stream. And it's his birthday today, the 31st of March. And he was born last century in 1948. What a day.
That's true.
What a man.
Thank you. Same way, me meeting you again. So nice. Thomas Blug, the beautiful guitarist.
Yeah, I remember the days when we played, I think it was almost 10 years or even a decade, where we spent time playing and on and off. And I have such great memories about it. You know, we played Luxembourg. We played this fantastic piece, which is Live in Raalte.
Raalte, yes.
Yeah.
What a nice performance.
Right.
Lovely.
Yeah. This was the band that brought us together, actually. When yeah, and we had another keyboard player too, Bernie. And there's one thing I will never forget. When we did like a very brief rehearsal, you were sitting on the one side of the stage, Bernie on the other side, and you were yelling at Bernie. It's like, "Don't play that F sharp. Thomas doesn't like that note." So you remember that?
No.
What I remember is, you know what I like, and the way you played the organ made my guitar and the music sound the way I like to hear it. So
that's
for
a
me,
great compliment. That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
great news.
and
Beautiful.
this man Thijs has such big ears. I mean, when we, I think you have perfect pitch.
Yep.
Uh-huh. A true master, and he is deep when it comes to music theory, right?
Yeah, in a way.
Maybe
Not overall, but you know. Yeah.
yeah. Maybe we have to explain a little bit about your background. I mean, you're the man of Focus. You are Mr. Focus, and maybe you can give us a very brief little history of your musical life from studies and then what you've done over the years.
Yeah. I started with piano lessons from my mother when I was 3 years old. Then I went to a real teacher, a girl teacher, when I was 6. And then I had a man teacher when I was 8 or 9, and he gave us opportunity, us is his pupils and me, to play in the big Concertgebouw in Amsterdam, which is the musical Odeon in Holland. And he wanted to get our stage fright pass away, and he also did it for his own glamour, of course. So I played when I was 10 years old. I played Mozart or Bach, and when I was 11, I played a piece of Bach with beautiful reviews in the papers, and everything cool. And then I had more lessons on piano. And when I was 11, I took lesson on flute, on querflöte. Done by my father, and he taught me how to play the flute, and he played the flute himself very beautifully. And then I did grammar school. What is that? Gymnasium.
Yeah.
And I ended the gymnasium, and I went to university in Amsterdam to study history of art.
Oh yeah.
Which was, I thought that would be the ideal combination for intellect and artistic things. But the first years of such a study are mainly cerebral and not so artistic at all.
Right.
So that was not a very good choice. In the meantime, I made a lot of music at school. I was always playing the piano anywhere I could. And so during that first year of being a student in Amsterdam, I had the opportunity to play in a cabaret group of Ramses Shaffi. And he was a big name in Holland, cabaret guy, and chansonnier, a singer.
Yeah.
And Lisbeth List, she was the girl singer, and they were very, very famous. And I was part of the choir, the background choir, 2 girls, 2 boys.
Okay.
And we did that very successfully in a theater that we built ourselves. And I did that for exactly 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ramses Shaffi, he said, I'm going to stop because I don't want to see this getting less. It was full, always sold out. And then he said, I don't want to see it
decline
down.
Yeah, so stop at the
very
peak.
famous people like Louis van Dijk, the pianist, and Lisbeth List, they had to go to the office of the government to get some money, and that was something that I didn't want. So I started my own group called Trio Thijs van Leer. And we played some own compositions, and we studied one song by Jimmy Webb, MacArthur Park, which I still very much like. MacArthur Park. And we did some Bob Dylan songs. So then as a trio, we did some gigs in and around Amsterdam. And then I rebaptized from the trio Thijs van Leer, I rebaptized the group into Focus, Focus.
The famous band.
Yeah, on the
T-shirt.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we said we want to have a guitarist in the band, 4th member, and that the only one that we could think of was Jan Akkerman, the guitar player.
Yeah.
And we became a quartet, and we went into the studio.
Yeah.
And we did one song, which was House of the King.
Yeah. I think we played it once or twice.
I think so. Yeah. And that became a hit in Holland. The first hit.
Yeah.
With the flute as a main instrument.
Yeah.
Composition was by Jan Akkerman.
Yeah.
And that time Jan wanted to play again with Pierre van der Linden.
Yeah.
The drummer he played already for a long time. And so he gave me the choice, you stay with your own your old 2 friends, or you join me. And then I did the last one. I joined him, and I said goodbye to the first 2, Martijn Drest and Hans Kleuver, to go and join Akkerman and Pierre van der Linden and Cyril Havermans.
Yeah.
And with that group, we did the second album called Moving Waves.
Oh yeah.
And there was involved a composition called Hocus Pocus, and that became a world hit.
Yeah, Yeah.
Right.
It's unbelievable. And what made you yodel on that song?
I don't know. I can't explain. This beautiful riff was played by Jan on the guitar during a rehearsal. And he stopped, and the drummer did 2 bars of improvisation on drums. And then I started yodeling in the first time of my life. I never did that. I never did that control or anything before. It came out of heaven.
Yeah. But this is the beauty of your personality. I remember moments where you actually simply went for it, whatever it was. I mean, there was the famous moment with the beer glass sitting on the organ, and you start to make some music with the glass, flowing. Here we go.
Right.
Yeah, Thijs.
So beautiful.
Yeah, but anyway, Thijs is about music all the way through. I remember one, I think it was a Sunday morning when we played in Helsinki once. We went to a flea market, and you had your flute with you, and you went to this nice church, and then you took the flute and you played some Mozart, some beautiful music, you know. And Thijs is about music. When he was at my father's place, he used the piano in the morning for breakfast, improvisation, you know, always music in the house the whole day. So what are you doing lately with the COVID-19 thing? We can't play. There's no gigs. There's what?
It's a pity we don't have any gigs with Focus now. We had many world tours planned in South America, in North America, in England, in Europe, in the East, the Far East even.
Yeah.
But the only thing I'm doing nearly every day is compose.
Yeah.
On a synthesizer with headphones on.
So composing on this beautiful album that we've done together, we have a few little pieces that we wrote together. One is TNT, Thomas and Thijs, and this is something I think we rewrote when I was at your place once. And then I have another memory, maybe you forgot about that, when we were in Cologne in the studio. I had this 6/8 slow ballad called Paul's Blues, and there was a melody line that I played on the guitar, very cheesy, simple melody, you know, like all my little melodies, you know. A few notes, and then the chords went like E minor, whatever, 11, my favorite chord, G, major 7, and a B minor, you know, that's kind of my cliche Blug style chords. So, and when the melody goes down, I think down to the E, and there's the G chord, you immediately stopped and said, "Man, that sounds shit." Even and this is your words. Even the worst composer would never play that note over that chord. And I still love that comment.
That's
because
terrible.
No. I mean, the thing is, I like the way that you are so open and you know what you want. And in the end, I don't know if I still stick with the note or if I played another one. It doesn't matter. But it's like even the worst composer would never play that note over that chord. Yes, that was a classic too. One of my nice memories. No, it's I like it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's another memory I have. I think you showed a blues to Bernie one of the days, and I don't know what it was. It was way beyond my understanding of music theory. And I think your trick was you went for substitution chords of substitution chords. So like every note he was playing was wrong because, you know, so a little smart thing. And this is one side, and the other side of you is you can make such easy, nice, and beautiful music with nothing in there, just the beautiful atmosphere. You know, it's like your range of music to me is super wide, starting from super soft, from nice, warm, mellow, tranquil in a way, to furious, you know. I mean, when you go for it at the end of the concert, you know, I was thinking, wow, you know, there's so much energy. He screams, he beats the organ, everything is smoking.
Destructs it.
Yeah.
Destructs the organ. Not with knives like Emerson, but, you know.
Yeah, but with emotion, you know, you went for it. Yeah, that's unbelievable. I mean, there's only one Thijs van Leer to me. I mean, as you know, there are other organ players, and everybody does his thing. Everybody has his personality,
right.
But I believe your personality is truly unique on this planet. I have never met anybody, you know, nobody could replace you. It is not possible, you know.
Thanks.
Maybe one guy can do a little yodeling, the next guy could do a little flute, and then another guy could play some organ. But like the triumvirate of the whole thing and the humor and the energy.
The miscellaneous one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That for me, you know, I have such great memories of the stuff that we've done in the past. When we went to the Normandy thing, you know, this whatever D-Days celebration, or when we played with the Deep Purple guys in Frankfurt.
That was great in Normandy.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, and your what was the birthday? I went to Holland. Was this your 60th birthday, maybe?
60, yeah.
When I met your
13 years ago.
Yeah, and this is when I met your mother back then.
True.
Yeah, and how many kids did you invite? 11?
I think such, yeah, like 11, yeah, I think so.
What a family. I was impressed. Yeah. And they are all musical. Your brother singing like, what was this kind of monk style voice?
Yeah, like Mongolian high, I don't know the name of that.
Yeah,
kind of.
Like two notes at once. One is a high pitch and a low. Crazy.
Yeah.
And then
we camped a lot.
Yeah, and then Berenice, she is also on that record here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all good memories. So
great. And you came all the way from Saarbrücken.
Yeah.
For that one little party. That was really nice. Really
but
nice.
It was worth it. It was worth it. It was one of those special days. You know, I'm not doing this every year, but it was was absolutely worth it, and I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you.
So, hey Thijs, for me, always a big pleasure. I hope we can play one day when the COVID is over.
Yeah. Lovely.
And I wish you all the best health and luck and success, especially with Focus. And we never know what's on the list. So
thank you very much for this conversation, and all the success in the world, and all the happiness, and all the beautiful things in life.
Thank you so much, Thijs. Hey,
Bye-bye.
Stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, so can you show me again? Because I wasn't recording.
Yeah.
They're lovely sculptures. That's a lovely collection you have.
Yeah. This is a Polish sculpture, and she did it especially for listening to Focus all the time. So it's a Focus kind of inspired thing.
Yes.
And next to that, it's a sculpture of mother and child, Maria and Jesus.
Yes.
Done by Maria Jesus. She's a Chilean sculptor and mosaic maker worldwide for the Roman Catholic Church. And next to that is a statue of Inayat Khan, who is the founder of the Sufi movement.
Right.
And it's made by Charlotte van Palland, a Dutch sculptor. And this very small one, I don't know if you get it.
Yes.
This one, that is me.
Yes. Yes. Wow. It's really amazingly good.
Yeah. And so I show you now some work of Annelies. She made this one, this one, this one.
I love them.
This one, and this one. And they all hang in a row. Like,
yes.
So there's more work of hers here.
They're very powerful.
Nice, huh? And one is here. And
Wow, yes. Your home is full of art.
yes. And what else can I tell you? Yeah, this is my piano. And my cupboard.
Is that where you compose?
No. That is somewhere else in the house. That is most of the time it is here. This is the place where I compose.
Right. And many more paintings.
Yeah, I have a painting by a friend of mine. His name is Jan. That's this one.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's lovely. Under that is a statue of Johann Sebastian Bach.
Oh, yes. Who's he?
Yeah. And
Oh, I've lost you, Thijs.
yeah, I don't know what's happening.
You might be a long way from your router. Oh, there we go. You're back.
Yeah. That is something that I painted when I was 14. That is
You painted? Wow.
Yeah. It's that one. And that one is like an icon.
Yes.
Made by Maria Jesus again.
Right.
The Roman Catholic painter. And those two are again Anneliese's. Those two. So, and this is my keyboard. It's like a keyboard and headphone. So, that is in a very short flight about what I can show you. And this is all the gold and platinum, all the, let me make a little more light.
You've been busy.
Yeah. So. That's about it. It's gold from America and diamond from the Netherlands. So this is 2 diamond records from the Netherlands.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. So I go back to the normal place now. Yeah. So,
Can I ask you about composing?
yes,
One-
what shall we start?
Well, one of the questions everybody seems to get asked, and I thought it was a interesting place to start, is the question we get asked all the time is, where do your ideas come from?
Yeah. There is always an urge in me to compose in the first place for Group Focus, which is, of course, an entertaining group, but in a serious way. I think there's so much entertainment nowadays in business, in the music business, that there should be also enough room for some bands that make a kind of a serious kind of art, serious music. And I consider Focus as one of those bands to try and be as serious and deep and philosophic as possible. So even we use a lot of humor also within the music, inside the music.
Yes.
We are first of all a group that tries to make a serious kind of, an earnest kind of music.
A lot of musicians, incredibly good musicians, don't write music, but for some reason, I assume you do.
What is your question? Sorry.
My question is, do you actually write music as well as compose and perform? Do you write it down?
Sometimes and sometimes not.
Okay.
Sometimes I put it on a sequencer and then I go to the studio, to the demo studio of Geert. And then what Geert makes together with me, we send to the other members of the group for first listening and for some critic if they have. Or they might like it and study it as good as they can.
So it's a collaborative effort, but I'll come back to that first question. When you have an idea for a piece of music, does it just arrive fully formed, or do you have to build it up, or how does it work?
Yeah, sometimes I have to really work my ass off. Sorry to say the word, but to really blood, sweat, and tears to form some maybe 2 bars or 4 bars, and sometimes it comes as a stream immediately out of heaven, I think. But most of the time it's lots of sweat. Yeah.
Are you working hard to polish an idea, or are you working hard to actually have the idea?
No, I'm not working hard to have the idea, because I'm still waiting and having enough faith all the time.
Yes.
That it comes from somewhere.
Yes.
And it still does. I'm 72 years old now, and it still keeps on coming, which is a wonder.
Thank God.
Is,
yes.
A divine thing, I think. Yeah.
I've talked to artists and musicians and scientists and writers, and that seems to be the common experience, that the ideas just arrive. All the work comes in polishing and fixing, but they come very often fully formed.
Right.
True. I talk about this because it fascinates me. A musician called Ramesses first interested me in it because I'd been asked, where do your ideas come from? And I thought it was unanswerable. But he was being interviewed by a journalist when we were talking about doing an album cover. And the journalist asked that question. He said, where do your ideas come from? And he said, well, when I'm sitting still like this, they come from over here. And
Right shoulder.
We all laughed. And I thought, that's how it is. That's how it is. That's how the ideas come. When you're still, you know, open, they come.
Yeah, true. Have faith in something maybe more eternal and more big than the self.
Yes. It's, I was talking to some students and I said, you have to make space for your subconscious to work, but it shouldn't be called the subconscious. It should be called the superconscious.
That's correct, quite correct. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
This is me as an outsider, knowing you for a few years, but not for a terribly long time. But I do see you in my mind as permanently ready to play music.
Which is not extraordinarily exceptional, but yeah, when I'm with people and there is a piano or a grand piano there with no player, then I might be playing within 1/2 a minute. And they play some of the latest material or some old Focus stuff, or, you know, there's always kind of fun because people recognize some tunes, but also I'm trying to show some brand new material, which is unknown at all, you know?
Yes. Well, yeah. I remember stories about you on the cruise that you would go ashore into a cafe and before you had time to order a cup of coffee, you were having an impromptu jam with musicians who probably didn't even know they were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just.
Yeah, that was great.
Your reputation is that you do that.
Yeah, maybe it was a bit over at that cruise, during that cruise. But yeah, as from the moment on that I knew there was a piano without a piano player, then I had to be the piano player.
But also the flute, because you take that with you when you go off the boat, don't you?
Yeah, right. Right. Yeah.
By the way, I think it is the most magical of magical flutes.
Thank you.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing. Beautiful.
Thank you.
And I would have thought when I was a child, I heard rock and roll when I was 12, because I'm older than you. And I would never have imagined a violin or a flute in rock and roll. And yet it works so perfectly.
Yeah. Not many bands using it, but, you know, a few do.
A few do, yeah.
Jethro Tull was, I think, a little earlier than Focus, but not so many others.
I mean, it would be a cliche to say you get yourself involved with classical music, all kinds of music. One of my favorite pieces of yours is about Strasbourg Cathedral. I didn't want to talk to you about your career in music. More about the creative process, but I just love that piece.
Yeah. La Cathédrale de Strasbourg.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was with my parents. I was in Strasbourg, and I was not so impressed by the height of the tower because it's very high, but it was the sound of the bells that inspired me a lot, and that did me decide to make this piece. and it's about the sound of the bells, which is world famous, by the way.
Yes.
But I also experienced that as a child of like 12 or 13 years old.
It's a beautiful piece. Did you ever actually record the bells? Did that?
Not those bells, no. I actually didn't. No.
Nevertheless, a fabulous piece.
Yes.
Tell me about, I know you walk around with the flute and things like that, but do you carry a recorder or a notebook with you as well?
A recorder?
Oh, sorry, I don't mean a record. I mean what I would have once called a cassette recorder or a tape recorder. Something to record your ideas.
A flute. A flute.
Right.
No.
So if you have an idea for a piece of music, you have some way of fixing it. Yeah. Try to protect it within my head. Yes.
Yeah. Keep it warm.
I imagine if you've played it, that does kind of hardwire it, does it?
Yeah. Right.
I was asked once if I keep a notebook by my bed, and I said no, because if I dream or whatever, I forget my dreams, I forget everything. But if I have a good idea, I don't forget it. I don't need to write it down. It'll be there in the morning, and I can.
Yeah. Great confidence in yourself. Beautiful.
No, it just is, if it happens, it is really persistent.
It's persistent enough. Right.
Hard to get rid of.
Nice. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. So it looks like the rumors are that this might have an end to it, this plague that we're all living with. Maybe early spring, maybe later, but it looks like there are solutions afoot. So it's quite exciting to be back in company again, I guess, and performing.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it too much. Yeah.
I'm split on that. Part of me is very excited about it, and part of me is really enjoying the quiet still. Even though it's been going a while, I still love it.
Yeah. Same here.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, not everyone, sadly, is in a position to, but
that's true.
That's
true.
I've had times when I've had no work, and that's caused me anxiety, but this is different. Yeah. And there's nothing I can do about it. So I don't have to rush around in my head trying to get work. I can just, okay, I can do what I want now. And that was profoundly freeing. I loved that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fantastic position. Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful.
So we should be talking at some point soon about your Rio recording. Oh, not now though. Sorry.
No, yeah, we just are finished with 2 albums, which you made a beautiful, beautiful cover design for, which is a live concert in Rio de Janeiro, plus an album with all the 12 pieces called Focus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so that's going to come out in like a few months, in February.
All right.
2021. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Called Focus 50.
Yes.
Amazing.
It is amazing, isn't it? It's incredible.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
It was, People are talking now as if 1971 was a magical year for music. And you were formed just 1 year by then, weren't you? You were formed in 1970.
Yeah, beginning 70 we started. Yeah. And it was very inspiring, and everybody composed their own music. So there were many composers, many more than in the bands of today where they cover a lot. Then it was very normal that you composed your own stuff.
Yes.
And we were one of them.
I heard a very interesting explanation of why the Beatles started writing. They said that when they were touring, there were 3 or 4 bands on the road with them, and they'd practice and practice particular songs, but they'd find that as heading the bill, they came last. And the other bands had played the pieces they'd been practicing. So they came on last and were supposed to blow people away, and everyone had heard what they wanted to play. So it was they felt the only solution was to write their own.
Right. Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense, but you're saying we're kind of back in that position there. Mind you, the choice of what to cover is huge compared to back in that time.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry.
I was saying that the choice of what a band might cover is vast, as big as the universe.
Yeah,
Back then, there was a much smaller choice,
that's true.
especially if it was topical.
Yeah.
How do you feel about touring with other bands? Does that work for you?
Sometimes it does, sometimes it does not. We were touring with bands that were kind of supporting act for us. And sometimes that really works, and sometimes it did not work at all.
Right.
We did a small tour with Hawkwind. Maybe you don't heard that name.
Oh, yeah.
And we were not treated like normal stars. We were really the support act, and also we got treated like that, and that didn't feel good. We didn't get the real attention that we needed. So I don't consider that as a very glorious tour. And that was England in halls of 1,500 to 3,000 or 4,000, which is kind of big. Not the biggest, but like a middle thing. But I didn't like that at all.
No.
And I have that as a not bad experience, but as an experience that I would not like to copy again. No. But we have played with a lot of other people that made a lot of impression on me. Yes. We played in America, for instance, once with Santana, which is really nice. Santana even wanted to make a double or a single album with me as a duet. It never happened, but the idea was there.
Yeah.
We play with the Beach Boys once, with Frank Zappa, only once in Tucson, Arizona. And where again, we played with Jay Giles' band a few times. We played with Chick Corea and Return to Forever, and they were supporting act for us, imagine.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. It was 9 gigs in the Midwest. And we also, we did a lot of concerts with, let's say, big names in rock and roll. Yeah.
I like Hawkwind, but If I was Hawkwind, my worry would be you would blow them off the stage.
Yeah, but they were so extremely loud, and they also took all the time in the rehearsal moments that there was no time for us to make a proper rehearsal anymore.
Right.
So that kind of thing, you know, we were really number two. We were second rate. And that didn't feel fine.
No. Not good manners.
Yeah, I cannot say. I don't know what it was. They had a giveaway for all the details, and they took the giveaway. So.
It's one of those things that I guess I hadn't really thought about it, but it must be a roll of the dice whether it works or not in advance, mustn't it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you talk to them in advance and say, how's it going to work with you guys? Anything like that?
No, I didn't have anything to say. I didn't want to utter any conditions at all. No. No.
How do you find doing it on the cruise with so many bands?
Yeah, the cruise was great. First time was great. We even did not play with our own guitar player because he was ill. So we had Jan Dumay, who was in Focus once, but already for years he wasn't anymore. And we had a lot of success on the ship. And the second time also, and the third time also. So all the three cruises were a great success for us. Yeah.
There was a lot of nice buzz around the idea of Focus on all of those cruises.
Right.
I'm hoping to see you again sometime soon at Trading Boundaries. You have any plans there?
Of course, but we don't have any straight regulation about it.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Well, who knows?
Yeah.
You can't tell if it'll be open in January, February, March, but you've got to be sure by June it'll be open and happening.
Yeah.
It's not over, but it can't go on forever, can it?
No.
No.
Should come some solution.
Michael's taken advantage of the fact it's been closed to completely renovate the place.
Oh, really?
So it's going to look very respectable.
Nice. Lovely.
Actually,
Did you see already examples of it?
Yeah.
Oh.
My exhibition opened on November the 1st and closed on November the 4th.
Wow, yeah.
Last night I did a live walkthrough online, but not the same thing. But yeah, Michael said he'll keep it open, but I don't know how long that will be. That's going to be an interesting.
Send him all my love, if you can.
I will.
Send him all my love. Yeah.
I will. I think I'm going to see him today, so I will. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Great.
When we're done, I'm going to send you a copy of our talk.
That's lovely. Thank you.
Okay. So I thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you for this very nice conversation. Thanks.
Thank you. And I really look forward to meeting you again. Every time I've met you, it's been wonderful. So
thank you. Same way here.
Great. See you soon.
Same way here. Thanks a lot.
Okay.
De wind en de wolken, de zee en de zon met de maan en de sterren erbij. Een beek, een rivier, een fontein en een bron, dat alles ben je voor mij. Geen ogenblik laat de gedachte me los, aan de vorm van je handen, de kleur van je blos. De wind en de wolken, de zee en de zon, alles ben jij. Nooit zal ik vergeten, liefste, de nachten samen met jou. Altijd blijven herinneren, liefste, je ogen als meren zo blauw.
De wind en de wolken, de zee en de zon, met de maan en de sterren erbij. Een beek, een rivier, een fontein en een bron, dat alles ben je voor mij. Geen ogenblik laat de gedachte me los, aan de vorm van je handen, de kleur van je blos. De wind en de wolken, de zee en de zon, alles ben jij. Nooit zal ik vergeten, liefste, de nachten samen met jou. Altijd blijven herinneren, liefste, je ogen als meren zo blauw.
Je bent nu bij hem in een andere stad met andere huizen en straten. Vergeet wat wij samen hebben gehad, nu jij me voorgoed hebt verlaten. Maar wat is het nut van het hele bestaan als wij met z'n tweeën niet verder meer gaan? Toch ben je en blijf je de enige vrouw van wie ik hou.
Je bent nu bij hem in een andere stad, met andere huizen en straten. Vergeet wat we samen hebben gehad, nu jij me voorgoed hebt verlaten. Maar wat is het nut van het hele bestaan, als wij met z'n tweeën niet verder mee gaan? Toch ben je en blijf je de enige vrouw van wie ik hou.
Moving waves, the wind has left you, and you are still in commotion. We are still repeating the word it has told us. It moves our whole being to ecstasy. Waves, why do you all become excited and then all come together?
Moving waves, the wind has left you, and you're still in commotion. We are still repeating the word it has taught us. It moves our whole being to ecstasy. Waves, why do you all become excited and then all come together?
Because behind our individual action there is one impulse working, Because behind our individual action, there is one impulse working, the desire to reach upwards.
Because behind our individual action, there is one impulse working. Because behind our individual action, there is one impulse working. The desire to reach upwards.